Today we are going to talk about direct action. Now, I think that if you have been protesting and you believe so strongly that you should get involved in direct action, then, well, okay, you do you, but you have to know that there will be, well, consequences. Not only that, there may be other people who maybe want you to participate in direct action for other reasons, which we'll be getting into in a moment. However, one of the things that's happened today is, of course, Palestinian Action, a group who basically are massively for direct action against trying to stop Israel committing genocide on the Palestinians. Now, I've said multiple times before, the only people who can do this is America. It is entirely on America to sort of stop this. We have done, as the UK, everything we literally can do. Like, there is nothing more we can do. And I know that fills a lot of people with a real sense of powerlessness. So I would understand why people who might feel that way are then driven to, well, doing things like, direct action. However, in this case, as what has been sort of posted this morning by Palestinian Action going after a company called Teledyne Technologies, who, bear in mind, produce a lot of definitely they're a high-level manufacturing company that produce a lot of components. Mostly they make sensors. Like, that is what they produce. Yet, what is said in this video contradicts what the company makes, what the company is involved with, which again, technically these protesters should not know, which leads into other questions, which leads into one of the things that Teledyne do, which is one of the main manufacturers in the UK for anti-drone technology used by the Ukrainians to defend themselves against the Russians. And I say this now, this might get a bit conspiratorial, but I do think there is a lot of evidence to be said for this. So, has Palestinian Action been completely fooled and been taken in and essentially maybe even given false information by Russian sources to essentially attack a factory in the to essentially sabotage, shall we say, a factory in the UK that makes one of Ukraine's most important defense needs at this moment in time? So, before we do go into this, please do remember to click on the Patreon page, the Buy Me a Coffee link where you can, buy me coffee, the YouTube thank you button, and of course, as always, there's the Pony Club down below as well. So, thank you everyone who does help and support the channel. Like I say, click the like, click the share, leave a comment down below, and let's get on into this. So, for those of you who do not know, this has been doing the rounds this morning, being produced, as we said, direct action by Palestine Action. And specifically, this video itself, this frame at the very, very start of it, this protester. Now, I want to say this, the text does not match the words the protester is saying, but the protester, you can hear very, very clearly say that they are going to come to shut down this Teledyne factory because they are involved in making components for the F-35 engine. Teledyne does not make components for the F-35 engine. That is not what they are a manufacturing company of. They are not an engine manufacturing company. You can go and look on their website. They do not make engines. Like, they are a technology company that specializes in creating sensors. They do a lot of marine biology sensors. They do a lot of infrared like technology sensors as well. That is what they do. And even then, let's say, and bear this in mind, the F-35 is the most top security under wraps thing America has. No one knows like what actually goes into an F-35. People can guess and make some very good educated guesses, But you can never exactly say for sure. And ultimately, of course, it is not Teledyne that makes and produces F-35s. It is Lockheed Martin. Now, Lockheed Martin might have given, again, let's say this, that they have given Teledyne, reason enough to do this. However, when that happens, that should come with immense security guarantees. Because if this is the case, that Teledyne is producing parts for F-35s, this would not just be producing F-35s for Israel, but most likely the UK, which would make this factory a location of supreme national security importance. Meaning that if this was a national factory of such strategic importance, then questions should be asked of how these protesters managed to get on the roof when anywhere else, when you look at these things, are protected by armed guards. Like, why weren't these people shot? And I've seen that. That is a valid question. That is a very valid question. If Teledyne are producing such an important component, why then weren't these protesters shot if this would be such a important national security strategical factory? Like, no ifs, ands, or buts. That is normally like how this works. Next of all, if this is such a important factory, how then did these protesters find out about this? How did they know? Because this is where it starts to get, shall we say, even for me, and I will admit, I am indulging in a bit of conspiratorial thinking, but as I've said, I'm backing this up. We've gone over the fact that the head of MI6 a couple of months ago said that Russia was going to try and find ways to attack UK facilities, get some revenge. What better way than to, shall we say, maybe leak information to maybe, well, anti-Israeli protesters and say, oh, by the way, this factory here makes parts for Israel weaponry. If you went in and maybe sabotaged it in such a particular way, you shut down the factory. When this factory, bear in mind, one of the prime locations in the UK that Ukraine gets its drone defense technology from. Awfully interesting that happened to be the case. But from what I have looked at, Teledyne Technologies seems to have almost nothing to do with the F-35, at least publicly. So ultimately, what's probably going to happen to these protesters is they are probably going to have I think, very interesting chat with MI5. And it will probably come out in the next couple of weeks of maybe we'll never know what may happen here. But I find it highly suspicious that these protesters are going after, quote, F-35 supposed, again, F-35 production facility, when in fact this factory is one of the biggest producers of Ukrainian defense technology. I'll admit it's just a theory, but I find it highly, highly suspect. And I think Palestinian Action has been taken for fools and used basically full sail here as Russian assets. I find it very, very suspicious indeed. So, as always, let me know what you think down below. I know it might be a bit conspiratorial, but I find everything lining up here to be very, very suspicious, quite frankly. So, as always, let me know what you think down in the comments. Click the like, click the share button, and as always, we'll see you all next time.